All right, Maya, let's take a look at your essay. Mla format first, so this needs to be the same font as the rest of your paper, so Times New Roman. You obviously have a little bit of a tab issue here, and it not being over here, so we want to fix that. A determined mind, I actually kind of like that theme when it comes to bipolar disorder, but I'm not going to like it after I get done reading the introduction, which I already have, because I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So you bring up all these people that were diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which is fine. Some were even diagnosed after their death. Again, I would assume that you got this information from a website, so where is your citation for this? They've all experienced the same symptoms and lived life to the fullest. Now, while that's true, that's fine. But I already get a sense, which I have confirmed after reading your introduction, this is not really the theme that you're going for, though, despite the fact that you're trying to make it work. So these celebrities have all experienced whatever. William Shakespeare's play Macbeth, which no comma, and what do you do when you have a play? That's not the proper way to punctuate that. Macbeth shares the same symptoms as these celebrities and also lived a full life. Well, yes, he lived a full life, but he also killed a lot of people in order to live that full life. And I'm gonna guess that not many of these people killed anybody. So this is where I'm having a hard time tying this into this. You know, you talk about Macbeth like he's the nicest guy in the world, and he succeeded in his goal to become king. Increased goal-directed activity is a symptom of bipolar disorder. Which you can use this as a support, but you better put it in a negative light at some point. Other symptoms include seeing something that isn't there, fearing something awful may happen, and not reacting to the environment. I'm assuming you're talking about Macbeth, but then your next sentence is about it caused him to do this. So why bring this up if it has nothing to do with what you're about to talk about? Okay. All right. So it caused manic episodes, psychosis, anxious distress, and catatonia, which forced him to lose his mind. Again, this is not what you were talking about at the beginning of the introduction. So you start off all happy-go-lucky, and then you end by him losing his mind at the end. So I'm really having a hard time buying in that this is all kind of going to fit together. I think there needs to be sort of a transitional, these people, came through with it, but other people are destroyed by it, and that's Macbeth. So that's where I really think you need to go with that statement. All right, so your first paragraph seems to be about two things. One is about this goal that he's trying to reach, the increased goal activity, goal-directed activity. And the other is about manic episodes, which you say up here is going to be your first main point. I would say I would move all the stuff about the goal-directed activity up into the introduction. I think it's more introductory material because the whole thing is about how he has this goal he has to reach, and these are the symptoms that pop out as he's trying to reach it. Now, you say his goal was to kill just so he could be king, but really his goal is to, I would say, hold on to his kingship, because a lot of the bipolar things don't manifest themselves until later in the story. So that's why I'm wondering if maybe you need to rethink this statement. The other thing, sorry, I didn't bring this up. Macbeth, the B does not have to be capitalized. It's always written as this way. So every time you see Macbeth like that, go back and change that. The problem with this paragraph, because your thesis is weak, you don't have a whole lot to say other than, oh, one symptom is this, and then here's a bunch of examples from the story. You do have some, sentences that are trying to analyze who he hurt along the way, didn't care. Another symptom is his racing thoughts, and almost all soliloquies he has racing thoughts. You got a comma error there. Due to the manic episodes, he did it anyway. Due to the manic episodes, comma, he did it anyway, but he still had his mind running. Again, what are you adding to this discussion? Before he killed Duncan, try to get everything in chronological order, Maya. I think it kind of gets lost when you're trying to shove so much stuff in here. Again, you have these real quick, oh, and this too, oh, and this too, oh, and this too. Here's the problem I have. I don't see one quote from the play. I don't see one quote from an outside source in any of this paragraph. I mean, this paragraph is nearly a page long and not one outside source. So I need to see that you're utilizing outside sources at some point in here. You have a transitional statement, although it's weak. And you could definitely add on to it right here by mentioning what's coming next and trying to find a connection to it. All right, so your second is psychosis. You define psychosis here, which again, I'm going to assume that you didn't know this definition when you start off with. So this is an example of plagiarism, that you did not cite where you got this from. It's not in quotes. So you got this from somewhere, I'm assuming, but I don't see any quotes for it. So that's plagiarism. So psychosis is this, when he sees or visualizes something that isn't there. So you talk about the dagger. And again, you're not doing anything but just explaining plot at this point. After he killed Banquo, he sees his ghost, which this whole thing is about plot. And this is a red flag that he had bipolar disorder. You've already stated that, so you don't need to say it again. You say he lost his mind in front of his guests. That's just restating the thesis statement. You're not actually adding to it in any way. You have a transitional statement in here. This is the wrong use of a comma. You wouldn't put that there. It would either be a semicolon, or I would rewrite it somehow to make it a better transition statement. So that body paragraph, Maya, you're just not doing much of anything to add to the discussion, and you got to be careful that you cite your outside sources. You got to work on topic sentence as well. This is a really poor topic sentence. It's not specific. You're just saying another factor is this, whereas I want you to say another factor is this, and this is what it does to Macbeth. That's something like that. You do have a citation in here. I don't know if that's going to be the right. I'll look at your works cited page and we'll see if that's correct. Right there. All right. Right after he killed Duncan, comma, he feared getting caught. So you don't need of there. That his why. So clean up some language. Why he felt guilt and cleaned all the blood off his hands. Again, you're giving me plenty of examples, but I don't see how this is relating to the thesis statement. He would lose his sport as king. I think probably means spot. Banquo's sons would be king. As a reaction, he made sure Banquo and his son Flance would be killed. All right, so this is the beginning of what I think you thought was going to be adding voice to your paper, but actually it's just radically changing the tone. There was a fail. That I'm not a huge thing. Macbeth go bonkers, not necessarily a huge thing. So as far as word choice, it's just I think you think it's going to be, oh, this is my own unique word choice, but it actually just changes the tone of the piece to make it, really literally less scholarly, which is not what you want, especially walking into college. You don't want a professor to think that, your idea of specific word choice is bonkers and was a fail. I think you need to have a little bit better word choice than that. You do a lot of plot here, and plot that moves quickly. What I would suggest, which is a common AP thing, Maya, is focus on one, maybe two things from the play and really expand on them, really talk about them a lot and how they are important to the play and how they really move the play along and how they relate to your really good thesis statement, that sort of thing. And again, be specific what that next symptom is as you move into that next body paragraph here. He wasn't completely with it, or in other words, comma, he wasn't reacting to his surroundings, which is catatonia. You don't need to capitalize it here. Here's the other thing that I'm not a huge fan of. This was a huge sign miss throughout the play. Huge giveaway for the fact that, it's not like a mystery. You're not trying to make it sound like a mystery, like, why didn't anybody diagnose him with bipolar disorder? That's so weird. I think you're just, the focus of the essay is just that you're proving that it happened. And so I'm proving that that's what he was suffering from, not that you're shocked and awed that no one diagnosed it. So just be careful of that. All right, some space issues here as you get into this. Good statistic. I like that you're using statistics in here. I don't know if this is really I'm having a hard time believing that this is a good example of him being catatonic. He wasn't responding to anyone around him. I mean, the only person that really talked to him was his wife, and he did talk to her. Then you jump into Macbeth, comma. This is a terrible way to set up this quote because you're completely shifting gears to another part of the play, and it's about his wife's death. This is someone else tried to tie this in, and I said they didn't do a good job of it. You do a little bit better job of explaining to it. I'm still having a hard time. He did react to it. He reacted with indifference, but he did react to it. I mean, you get to that point almost like he didn't care. He didn't react at all. When he received the news, comma, he didn't react at all, no comma. Riley was experiencing that. I don't know. And this is a wah-wah moment. I don't know if it's necessary in the paper. He literally lost his head. But that, see, you're substituting that for actual analysis, which I don't like. I'd rather have you analyze it deeply. All right, conclusion, Maya. You restate your thesis. You go through and talk about your main points. You have some, sentence fragments here. Be careful about sentence structure. This is another sentence fragment. Be careful about that. Where a huge contribution to Macbeth losing control of his mind. It's another reference back to the thesis statement. A determined mind can cause a fatal death. I like that. You're going finally tying in the title into the paper. And I like the title at the beginning. I don't know why you're waiting until now to kind of bring it back up again. I think it's something that you can use throughout the paper. And I just think it can be expanded on much more. And see, to me, Maya, this is just silly for you to make this mistake. A, it's not even all in the same color font. B, it's definitely not in the same font type. It's not tabbed over correctly. This should be all the way over. These get tabbed over. Yes, they're all correct, but I mean, this is just silliness for you to mess this up. And these are what go in the in-text citation. These right here is what goes in there. So it's not the Johns Hopkins University home. It's not the psychiatry, Edgemont, whatever. It's whatever goes first goes in the in-text citation. That's why I harped on you guys. Do the in-text or the works cited page first so you know what the in-text citation looks like. So you need to go back and fix that. So get those silly mistakes fixed, Maya, and hopefully we'll see a rewrite out of you.